Hey y'all, welcome to the Medicinal Melange podcast. I'm Elizabeth, a clinical herbalist, medical astrologer, and the friend that won't let you gaslight yourself out of your own brilliance. This is where we take the guesswork out of your wellness journey and take back your autonomy in healing your body, aligning with your chart, and shedding light on your highest self's actual timeline, not the one capitalism tries to rush you through. If you're into no BS astrology, radical self-honesty, and levels of devotion to yourself you were told were too much, you're in the right place. Welcome back to the Medicinal Melange podcast. This is actually our final episode of this series, and today we are swimming in Pisces. The musician, the feeler, the intuitive one whose body rides on both sides of the veil. We are floating between the spiritual and physical worlds today. But before we do, let's talk about the energy we are currently swimming in. And last week, I kind of had an aha moment that scared me maybe a little as Mercury and Mars ran into each other in Scorpio. I talked about this energy last episode, but here is exactly how it played out in my life. And for those of you new here, twice a month I meet with members of my Sun membership. It's a 12-month membership where we do deep work that results in a complete life transformation in 12 months. But honestly, members see their own shifts within the first month. So their confidence is super important to me, and I would never share success stories. But if you're listening to the podcast and are a member, feel free to chime in the comments to share how deep we go and what your transformation was like. Anyway, the details are that I meet with members for an hour twice a month. The first session, we focus on learning about key points of astrology, whatever the topic is for that month at hand. And then the second time we meet, it's like, okay, this is how you unfuck your life while inspecting that same astrology we just studied. How it ties into my astrology. Last Monday, I was speaking with a member of the Sun, and we were diving into living your passion. And I mean, not like soak up the sun, Sheryl Crow level passion. I'm talking full on Iggy Pop, lust for life, feel it in your bones, full vitality and thriving. In our passion, specifically. And I realized the Sun memberships are my passion. And that was a little scary. I get to help clients bridge this stupid patriarchy sort of gap between science and spirituality, which helps them redefine their roles and responsibilities that have been keeping them stagnant and stuck in old areas that aren't suiting them. I can look at areas of the chart and teach my Sun members about them and then help them seriously sit with the power they hold in releasing the fear and embracing their natal chart. That is my passion. I get to take my years of being of service, like a good Virgo is, in behavioral psychology and merging that career with profound astrology that changed my own life. And so as the week went along, I was seeing so many aha moments while I was meeting with Sun members. And then having the ability to experience my own was just super special. You know, they're learning to open up and embrace the undefined parts of their past that are kind of running the show in the shadows. The relief I saw come off their shoulders, energetically, of course, but they're able to rewire upbringing. So that way, those parts of themselves they were told weren't enough, you know, they start demanding true love for themselves, true love outward. And it's really beautiful to watch as we all kind of had these aha moments last week. Now, looking at this week's astrology, because we are swimming in Pisces, Neptune has returned to Pisces and it's retrograding out of Aries this last Wednesday and marking a major loop back into themes of intuition and dreams and disillusions of illusion. So when we think about this Neptune in Pisces, it's a great time to call your massage therapist. If you have one, grab a massage. If you're like me and maybe that's not something you budget for all the time, a simple lymphatic self massage will do, or some dry brushing. I've been really into doing the facial brush in the morning recently, but the sun in Scorpio is squaring Pluto. Little tickles in your throat or congestion can really take you down. You want to make sure you're on top of things. That's why the massage or the lymphatic stimulation is really going to help move the bullshit out of your system. If you're trying to conceive in this dumpster fire of a world right now, the 26th, 27th, a little bit into the 28th, but especially the 27th are pretty amazing times to conceive. If this is your first time joining me on the Medicinal Melange podcast, you should definitely know that I have 9 babies born under my belt using my timing techniques, because just like your menstrual cycle, you have an astrological fertility clock. And let me tell you, that thing ticks most of the time. When people say we weren't even trying, or I didn't know I could get pregnant, it's because it hit the time frame on their fertility chart based on astrology, and maybe it hit their partners too. If you just want to use the earthy energy of Capricorn moons to get the job done, here's your chance, especially the 27th and the 28th, because of the trine between Mars and Jupiter. It creates extra vigor. Let's set sails now onto the deep waters of Neptune and explore the sign of Pisces. If you're a Pisces type, that's the sun, moon, or rising, but especially rising, you should know that your body is a vessel. It absorbs, it transmits, it dissolves, especially boundaries. And that's pretty exhausting. You don't just like sense the energy, you become it. When I was thinking about Pisces, I was thinking of all their fun, quirky traits and their lack of boundaries. If you've ever gotten a reading from me, whether it's in person or virtual, I always lightly joke that Pisces can't even spell the word boundaries. They wear their clothes, but even their clothes, it's not like Capricorn, who loves clean lines and a fresh press. This is very slouchy and comfy, and the clothes drape off their shoulders. Or maybe their favorite pair of jeans that has every rip recorded over the 20 years of their existence. They typically have fluffy hair and love turquoise and purples and tones like that. There is a lovely blase blah attitude about Pisces, but in the most charming way. You got to remember, if Aries starts the zodiac wheel and Pisces is the very end of it, this means we've been collecting energy through Aries and the infant stage, and going to Leo and having this teenager phase, and then the worker of Capricorn. And so by the time you get to Pisces, that's the very end. The energy of all the signs resonate through till the very end. So Pisces is exhausted, and it creates a zodiac sign that's always too tired to deal with much of anything life throws its way. This also makes them pretty prone to psychic abilities and also mental health imbalances. They're definitely the sign that would rather sleep it off than talk about it right that second. And speaking of sleep, Pisces loves to sleep late and with a window open, and they hate wearing shoes. Physically, the tip of their nose kind of rounds out. I'm going to say round like a clown, but that obviously, hopefully, just tells you round circle, like this little round tip. And it's always just the tip. It's not going to be round and bulbous all the way through. It's like just the tip of the nose is very round. Their foreheads are pretty strong and flat. They're typically short. And since we are talking about a water sign, they probably retain water and have more of a round body shape. And again, if you have this massive stellium in another sign, maybe it doesn't show up as much, but definitely they retain more water. Like other signs, there isn't just one Piscean type. Some look like fairies. They have that little Tinkerbell nose, but instead of this round, it kind of tips upward and their face is rounder and their lips are fuller. In formal medical astrology ways, Pisces is a mutable water sign. And the body rulerships from an astrological perspective include the fascia and the lymph, sleep, the feet, parasympathetic nervous systems, which is that rest and digest part of the atomic nervous system. Remember that Pisces' sister sign, Virgo, rules over the immune system. So all the fluid that's traveling through there is going to be ruled over by Pisces. And while Pisces isn't really lording over immunity, they do tend to have shitty immunity. So it's super important to be on top of their own health. A little tickle can take over the body in 0.02 seconds in a Pisces type. So warming up the body and staying on top of systems is a must. Since we have to really stay on top of things with the Pisces body, Pisces need food that roots them into the physical realm and filters the emotional buildup in this water sign. Y'all love to eat and eat a lot. So being conscious of things that help raise your vitality as you do eat is very, very important. Protein heavy meals are going to be great. If you're like me, you're absolutely going to barf if one more person says eat more protein. But here we are. The watery Pisces lack muscle tone, especially because they, out of all the signs, are kind of known to bed rot. And so it's super important to build up the protein. I personally love TVP. My mom said growing up, she ate TVP a lot and it completely makes her gagged and gets all grossed out. But my pantry's full of it. It's so high in protein with solid amino acid profile, but it contains no fat or cholesterol. And as somebody who is ruled by Virgo, and so liver and fatty liver and cholesterol issues is definitely in my chart, I love TVP. But we want warm cooked foods with spices because this improves circulation. It helps clear the fog out of everything. It really just gets your circulation running. Pisces is almost like you have to wake up the senses energetically and physically. Hydration is also really important for Pisces because it gives the lymph support as well. Lemon water, cucumber, parsley, dandelion, any of these herbal infusions, that's going to be super good at invigorating the system, giving you the hydration, and hopefully helping the lymph. As far as herbs go, Pisces needs herbal support that help with boundaries and drainage and keeping the nervous system calm without dulling that beautiful intuitive force that Pisces has. I love the idea of motherwort for Piscean types because this is gentle nervous system soothing with an affinity for the heart. Piscean hearts are pretty lazy. Like I said, we don't have the ability to get that circulation and that fluid moving. So then they end up retaining fluid. Helping strengthen the heart and the nervous system as it pertains to motherwort is a really solid move. Similar to other episodes, I will mention that spicy aromatic herbs are going to be great for the Piscean type. I love the idea of ginger specifically for Pisces because you legit buy a piece of ginger or a few pieces from the store, which is low effort. Pisces loves low effort. And then put it on your kitchen counter and forget about it. Also low effort. Then when it starts to form eyes and sprouts, you plant it by literally throwing it into dirt. I put mine directly in my yard on top of my dirt and then I put about an inch of dirt on top of it. From the outside perspective, it probably looked just like an anthill, but it was just ginger on top of the ground because I did not feel like digging that day. And it was the middle of summer, and y'all know the ground gets hard as shit. And so I just put it on top of the ground with the little eyes, and I put about an inch over it. And then I forgot about it some more. Yes, I watered it really good that first day, but I forgot about it. It got sun, but I didn't let it get cracked and nasty and hard, just lightly watered once in a while. And I feel like this is the true Pisces way of gardening. Sleep and let the magic of the universe cultivate a healing herb for you to infuse in hot water at your convenience while you conjure your own magic. Mugwort is another aromatic herb I absolutely adore for Pisces, and I include it in my Artemis tea for dream work. Similar to ginger, I planted my mugwort in my yard, and within like the first year of watering, when I remembered, this bitch grows like 4 feet high and 5 feet wide. I was harvesting it within the first month or so as well, but it was really a set it and forget it type of herb. And this is a small caveat to a larger discussion I give in my online herbalism course, The Green Path. If you have not heard me talk about it yet, because I'm pretty terrible at talking about all of my offerings, but The Green Path is my online herbalism course. I spent thousands going to very fancy schools with very fancy teachers as it pertained to herbalism, and it was my gift to the community, something that people didn't need to use their entire paychecks for 6 months to a year to pay for like I did. But in this course, I have a whole series where I talk about the importance of going for herbs that are native to your bioregion. Mugwort is more of a Mediterranean plant. In my climate, in my soil, that kind of limestone acidic soil, it really thrives. And so I don't have to overwater it because it's used to being in soil that's not ideal compared to other herbs. So if that's something you're passionate about and learning about native plants for your bioregion, I definitely recommend checking out The Green Path, especially as access to this information that's sacred, knowing herbalism and how to grow herbs, how to source herbs if you're unable to grow them, what's native, what's not, how to look for herbs that are medicinal, what herbal actions they do, meaning what does the herb do in the body. This is all talked about in The Green Path. Moving along, cleavers is also on my list of great herbs for the Pisces type because they need stimulation through circulation. So, an alternative herb like cleavers is great. Y'all know I love cleavers because as we get into colder months and we kind of get through winter, and then we have that first pop of the sun, that's when you'll go outside and harvest your cleavers. They grow crazy easily. So harvest as much as you want because I assure you they'll grow back within a couple days. Calendula is another fantastic Pisces herb because if we want to bring some warm solar energy into this mix, calendula is very sun-like. It's also great for lymphatic movement. It stimulates the liver and the kidneys and brings this beautiful, healthy glow to Pisces skin. Another one for the kidneys is going to be goldenrod. This warms the kidneys and stops the leaky drips we don't always tend to if the system gets overwhelmed by allergies. No matter what herb you choose, we don't want to go too cold for the Pisces type. They love cold things, but we need herbs that are going to stimulate the system and invigorate it and wake it up from the inside. However, Pisces loves all herbal infusions, and honestly, no matter what you drink as far as herbal infusions in general, they're all going to be very helpful for Pisces. Pisces rising needs movement that grounds them spiritually and clears out the emotion that's being trapped inside. I was trying to think of the best movement for the sign that doesn't want to get out of bed. And I think I came up with some cool happy mediums that hopefully y'all enjoy. I feel like red light therapy is going to be great for the Piscean types. I'm not sure if I've talked about it in another episode, but I definitely talked about it during my course, The Green Path. And red light therapy in Roman times looked like a room where they had all these windows around, or like cutouts for windows. And they would put these massive red drapes over where the sun would come through. And they would just sit in these rooms that were lit up by heavy red energy throughout the room. And that was their version of red light therapy. I don't have anything but the mask, but I assume you can definitely sleep under it, which sounds like a Pisces win. Red light therapy helps with the regeneration of cells and the efficiency, more or less, that they work. I'm sure y'all could Google, because I am not an expert in red light therapy. I do know it's highly beneficial, and I actually have different types of light therapy that I use, but definitely red light's my favorite. Dance therapy is another great one because Pisces loves music. So, any sort of dance therapy or intuitive body motion, go ahead and put on Shaka Khan in the middle of your kitchen at 9 a.m. or 9 p.m. Well, we're talking about Pisces, so you're probably not up at 9 a.m. So, yeah, 9 p.m. And go ahead and just let your body move. Who cares how or why or the stories behind it? We want to get that movement in because you love music, but reviving that deep body work is really important. Restorative yoga is another great option, reflexology, or even just lymphatic rebounding or fascia release is super important. I know the Pisces type does not want to be listening all day about all the things that they can do and should be doing because you have better things to do, like sleep. So, with that, I'm going to pick a card for today. I'm going to use a deck that I do not use very often and pick a card from the Hocus Pocus Tarot deck. Today, I pulled the Ace of Candles, which I assume is going to be similar to the Ace of Wands. But think about it. We want to light that candle. We have a new passion burning within us. The guidebook specifically for this deck says, follow the flames to begin a journey filled with inspiration, ambition, and expansion. The start of a new adventure lies before you, should you be brave enough to face the flames. I think this is really important because Neptune just moved back into Pisces, and we will have them both retrograding until, let's say, the end of November. And then one comes out, and then the other one comes out, and then we start moving forward again. And right now, I think there's a lot of introspection for all Pisces types, but especially if we have heavy placements in Pisces. Any sort of planets that you have in Pisces are going to be activated. So we really want to make sure that we're paying attention to the messages that are coming through wherever Pisces falls in your chart. Because remember, yes, Saturn builds or asks us to rethink about the structures that we have created. However, Neptune dissolves. So that's your Pisces download. Tag me in your rituals. Maybe it's a nice salt bath, or a sleep tea at night, or the moment you finally stop absorbing energy that isn't yours. You are not floating, you're flowing. You're flowing, you're flowing, you're flowing. Pisces flows. All right, y'all. See you next time.